Today we're going to start learning about the basics of dividing fractions. Please make sure you have your graphic organizer and a pencil ready to go to take notes. Here's our story problem. Let's say you're making leather necklaces. Now one necklace needs 2/3, sorry that little 2/3 right here. Should have snuck up in here. So it says one necklace needs 2/3 of a foot of leather string. How many necklaces can you make out of a 4-foot long piece of leather string? Well, except for the fraction, you've heard these types of problems before. What kind of problem does this sound like? Well, hopefully you said a division problem because we're taking a large total and dividing it up into equal sections. So what operation do you think we're going to be using? Well, we're going to be dividing. So let's think, what kind of an equation could we come up with for this? If you're making leather necklaces and one leather necklace needs 2/3 of a foot of leather string, how many necklaces can you make out of a 4-foot long piece of leather string? Well, the equation has our total, which is 4 foot. We want to divide that into groups of 2/3. And that's going to give us our variable, our unknown. So 4 divided by 2/3 equals x. Go ahead and stop the video, make sure you write all this down, and then go on to the next slide and we'll continue on solving this problem. Well, to solve this problem, let's draw a picture so we can see how we're going to work this out. And in this instance, let's use a number line. Well, this line shows a 4-foot piece of leather. Each number stands for a foot. For example, here's 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot. If we want to divide this up into 2/3, how are we going to show thirds? Because remember, we want to show groups of 2/3 so we can get out of here. How could we show thirds? Well, I want you to go ahead and draw a picture on here, thinking how you could draw these each into thirds, and then go on to the next screen and we'll see if we match. Well, here's a number line, and you can see by the red lines that we've divided each foot into thirds. So now we need to show how many groups of 2/3 we can get out of our necklaces. Well, if you look here, right here is a group of 2 of those thirds. So there's one group. Now we want another group of 2/3. So there's 2/3 in that. So there's a second group of 2/3 of a foot. Here's another group of 2/3. Here's another group of 2/3. Here's another group of 2/3. And here's our last group of 2/3. So if you look at this, how many groups of 2/3 can we get? Well, we can get 6. So how many necklaces could you make with this 4-foot long string of leather? You could make 6. So go ahead and draw this out on yours, and then we'll go on to the next slide. Well, through our drawing out our pictures and our number line, we discovered that 4 divided into groups of 2/3 would equal 6 groups. Now that might seem strange because usually when we divide our quotient or our answer is smaller than the dividend. Usually if you take 12 divided by 3, you get 4. If you divide, usually you get a smaller quotient. But remember, when we're dividing by fractions, we're seeing how many fractions will fit inside the total amount. So our final quotient sometimes, a lot of the times, will be bigger than our original answer. Let's try another problem. Our equation in this one is, will 5 divided by 1/4 be greater or less than 5? You need to think, would 5 divided into groups of 1/4 be greater or less than 5? Now here's a hint for this one. Think of dollars and quarters, because quarters are 1/4 of a dollar. So if you had $5, how many quarters would that give you? Well, let's draw out a picture. let's say that each rectangle represents $1. How many 1/4 can you count? Go ahead and draw on here, take notes, do what you need to, but I want you to figure out how many 1/4 can you get out of these 5 rectangles. Then you can turn to the next slide and we'll draw it out together. All right, well, each one of these rectangles is one of our 5, and we're pretending that they're dollars. So if we were going to divide these up into fourths, let's kind of just draw a line. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's draw this one into fourths. So this would be our 5, 6, 7, 8. And then here we have 9, 10, 11, 12. Remember, each one of these is a fourth. We're dividing each one of these rectangles into 4 equal pieces, although I'm not doing a great job of drawing them equally. There's 13, 14, 15, 16, and then we have 17, 18, 19, 20. So what is 5 divided by 1/4? How many 1/4 can you get out of 5 whole? You can get 20. Did my picture match yours? Understanding. Hopefully you can kind of get an understanding now that when you are dividing whole numbers by fractions, the answer or the quotient is going to be larger than the dividend. When the divisor is less than 1, the quotient is larger than the dividend. So 4 divided by 2/3 would give you 6. There's 6 groups of 2/3 inside 4. And 5 divided by 1/4 is 20. There are 20 groups of 1/4 inside of 5. So if you have any questions, please write them down and we will discuss this some more in class tomorrow. And the secret word today is Diet Pepsi.